Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the United Earth Defense Station, her dark eyes fixed on the massive alien vessels that had appeared in Earth's orbit 3 days ago. Their sleek, crystalline ships seemed to mock humanity's comparatively primitive space fleet. The Galactic Federation's ultimatum still rang in her ears: submit or be erased. Admiral, the Federation Council is ready for your response, Lieutenant Rivera announced from his communication station. Sarah straightened her uniform, squaring her shoulders. 20 years of military service hadn't prepared her for this moment. Put them through, she commanded, her voice steady despite the weight pressing down on her chest. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the Federation Council, a collection of alien species that had dominated the galaxy for millennia. High Counselor Vexthor, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate mechanical shell, spoke first. Admiral Chen, has humanity reached its decision? Will you accept your species' rightful place as our protectorate? Sarah's jaw tightened. The Federation's protection meant little more than slavery. Earth would be stripped of its resources, its people relegated to serving more advanced species. She had spent the last 3 days reviewing their demands with Earth's unified government, and the choice was clear. High Counselor, humanity has carefully considered your generous offer, she began, choosing her words carefully. However, we must respectfully decline. Earth will remain independent. Murmurs of amusement rippled through the council. Vexthor's energy form pulsed with what Sarah interpreted as contempt. Admiral, perhaps you misunderstand. This is not a negotiation. Your species has barely mastered basic space travel. Your weapons are primitive. Your civilization is fractured. You cannot hope to resist. With all due respect, High Counselor, I don't believe you understand us at all, Sarah replied, allowing a slight smile to cross her face. Humanity has survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and near-extinction events. Each time, we've emerged stronger. We don't submit. We adapt. We overcome. A harsh laugh came from Counselor Zarkax, a massive reptilian being. Brave words from a primitive species. Your determination is admirable, but foolish. We have conquered worlds far more advanced than yours. Sarah's smile didn't waver. Then you've never faced humans before. We're not like the others you've subjugated. We don't follow your rules of warfare. We don't think like you do. And most importantly, we're at our most dangerous when we're cornered. The council chamber fell silent. Sarah could see confusion and uncertainty in some of their alien faces. Good. Let them wonder. You have made your choice then, Vexthor declared, his mechanical shell humming with barely contained rage. The Federation will commence operations to pacify Earth within 3 solar days. Your resistance will be noted in our historical records as yet another example of primitive species' inability to recognize superior civilization. As the transmission ended, Lieutenant Rivera turned to Sarah. Admiral, was that wise? Their fleet outguns us 100 to 1. Sarah moved to the tactical display, studying the Federation fleet positions. They may have better technology, Lieutenant, but they've forgotten something crucial about warfare. It's not about who has the biggest guns. It's about who can adapt faster, think smarter, and hit harder where it hurts most. She pressed a button on the console, opening a channel to Earth's unified command. This is Admiral Chen. Operation Trojan Horse is a go. I repeat, Trojan Horse is greenlit. They took the bait. Across Earth, hidden facilities hummed to life. In underground bunkers, scientists and engineers worked feverishly on projects that would make the Federation regret their arrogance. In orbital shipyards concealed by advanced stealth technology, humanity's real fleet waited. Ships designed not to match Federation technology, but to exploit its weaknesses. Lieutenant, Sarah called out, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's future. Send word to all commands. We have 3 days to prepare our welcome for our would-be conquerors. Let's show them why you should never underestimate humans. As the station's crew rushed to their battle stations, Sarah allowed herself a moment of grim satisfaction. The Federation thought they were dealing with a primitive species about to be easily conquered. Instead, they had just started a war with humanity at its most creative, most innovative, and most dangerous. The next few days would teach them exactly why that was a terrible mistake. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility unknown to the Federation, Dr. Maya Patel watched as her team assembled the final components of Project Achilles. The massive underground chamber hummed with activity as scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, their faces illuminated by holographic displays and the soft blue glow of quantum processors. Status report. Admiral Chen's voice came through the secure communication channel. Maya adjusted her augmented reality glasses, reviewing the latest test results. The quantum disruption field is stable, Admiral. We've successfully replicated the frequency signatures of their shield technology. When they power up their main weapons, they'll be in for quite a surprise. The Federation's overconfidence had given Earth an unexpected advantage. Their casual display of technology during the ultimatum had provided crucial data about their systems. While they assumed Earth was scrambling in panic, human scientists had been reverse engineering their vulnerabilities. In orbit, masked by advanced stealth systems, Commander Jack Torres supervised the modification of Earth's defense platforms. The Federation would be expecting primitive missile systems and basic energy weapons. Instead, they would face something unprecedented. Second wave of nanite injectors are in position. Jack reported to Orbital Command. If their ships follow standard attack patterns, they'll fly right into our web. The nanites were perhaps humanity's greatest secret weapon. Microscopic machines designed to infiltrate and corrupt Federation technology from within. They couldn't match alien firepower, but they didn't need to. They just needed to sow chaos at the right moment. Admiral Chen's voice crackled through the command network. All stations. Update status. Ground teams. Ground defense grid online. Colonel Maria Rodriguez responded from her position in Buenos Aires. Civilian evacuation to underground shelters is proceeding ahead of schedule. Guerrilla units are in position and waiting. Orbital defense. Stealth systems holding. Commander Torres confirmed. Federation scans are still showing only our decoy installations. They haven't detected our real defenses. Cyber Division. Countermeasures are ready, reported Dr. Marcus Wong from his station in Singapore. Our quantum computers have mapped their communication protocols. When they try to coordinate their attack, we'll be inside their network. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The Federation thought they were facing a primitive species preparing for a hopeless last stand. They had no idea that every moment of apparent submission was being used to prepare an intricate trap. In laboratories across the globe, human scientists worked on weapons that defied conventional military doctrine. Instead of trying to match Federation technology, they focused on exploiting its fundamental assumptions. Quantum entanglement disruptors would turn their superior communications against them. Targeted electromagnetic pulses would crash their automated systems. But perhaps most importantly, humanity had something the Federation couldn't comprehend. Desperation-fueled innovation. Every human on Earth knew what was at stake. There would be no surrender, no submission. They would either win or cease to exist as a free species. In the Antarctic Research Station, Dr. Elena Volkov made the final adjustments to the atmospheric defense grid. The Federation's ships were designed for space combat, not planetary warfare. They would enter Earth's atmosphere expecting to find helpless targets. Instead, they would face a planet turned into a weapon. Weather control systems are online, Elena reported. We can create localized storm conditions on command. Their ships won't know what hit them. Admiral Chen received the updates with grim satisfaction. Humanity had spent centuries fighting itself, developing tactics and technologies for warfare on every scale. Now that experience would serve them against an overconfident enemy that had forgotten the art of real combat. All commands maintain radio silence except for emergency channels, Sarah ordered. Let them think we're cowering in fear. In 24 hours, They'll learn exactly what humanity is capable of when pushed too far. As the final hours ticked away, Earth's defenders completed their preparations. In cities across the globe, civilian populations moved to hardened underground shelters, many of which contained surprises of their own. The Federation would find no easy targets, no way to force a quick surrender through civilian casualties. The trap was set. Humanity had turned its entire planet into a weapon, ready to be unleashed against an enemy that had fatally underestimated them. In her command center, Admiral Chen reviewed the final defensive positions. The Federation thought they were dealing with a primitive species about to be easily conquered. They were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in its technology, but in its ability to adapt, innovate, and overcome seemingly impossible odds. Send the final coded message to all commands, Sarah ordered. Operation Trojan Horse enters final phase at dawn. May God have mercy on their souls, because humanity won't. Dawn broke over the Pacific as the Federation's massive fleet descended through Earth's atmosphere. Their crystalline ships sparkled in the morning light, a beautiful but deadly array of superior technology preparing to subjugate another primitive world. High Commander Vexthor stood on his flagship's bridge, watching with detached amusement as his forces moved into position. All ships report ready, his second-in-command announced. No significant resistance detected. Their primitive defense systems remain powered down. As expected, Vexthor replied, his energy form pulsing with satisfaction. Begin the first wave off. The rest of his order was cut off by a sudden surge of alerts. Across his fleet, ships began reporting system malfunctions. Communication channels filled with static. Navigation systems showed conflicting coordinates. In her underground command center, Admiral Chen watched as Operation Trojan Horse unfolded. Execute Phase 1, she ordered, her voice calm but firm. Instantly, the atmosphere around the Federation fleet came alive. Dr. Volkov's weather control system activated, creating localized storm cells that buffeted the alien ships. Lightning strikes, precisely targeted by quantum computers, played havoc with their shields. Their formation is breaking, Lieutenant Rivera reported, tracking the chaos on his tactical display. The nanite infiltration is working. Their systems are going haywire. The Federation fleet, designed for space combat, struggled against Earth's weaponized atmosphere. Ships designed to shrug off energy weapons found themselves fighting against wind shear and electromagnetic disruption. Their superior technology, so reliable in space, became a liability in Earth's turbulent skies. Launch counter-offensive, Sarah commanded. All units execute as planned. Across the globe, humanity's real defenses revealed themselves. Stealth platforms dropped their cloaking fields, unleashing swarms of quantum disruption missiles. The projectiles didn't need to penetrate Federation shields. They simply altered the quantum state of the energy fields, causing them to collapse. In orbit, Commander Torres watched as his modified defense platforms activated. Nanite swarms are achieving maximum penetration, he reported. Their hull integrity is compromising exactly as predicted. The Federation's response was predictable. They attempted to coordinate their forces and adapt their tactics. But Dr. Wong's cyber warfare team was waiting for exactly this. Their command network is compromised, Marcus announced with satisfaction. Implementing false orders now. Vexthor watched in growing horror as his fleet began to fall into disarray. Ships received contradictory commands, some firing on their own allies. The carefully planned assault had devolved into chaos within minutes. Impossible, he snarled, his energy form flickering with rage. These primitives couldn't possibly. His words were interrupted by a direct transmission from Earth. Admiral Chen's face appeared on his command screen, wearing the same slight smile she had shown during their last encounter. Having technical difficulties, High Commander? She asked, her voice dripping with mock concern. Perhaps now would be a good time to discuss terms of your surrender. We will never surrender to primitives. Vexthor rage. All ships, full attack formation. overwhelmed them with. But his fleet couldn't hear his commands. The quantum entanglement network they relied on for instantaneous communication had been completely corrupted. Each ship was now fighting its own desperate battle against an enemy that seemed to be everywhere and nowhere. Colonel Rodriguez's guerrilla units struck at Federation ground forces foolish enough to attempt landing. Using tactics perfected over centuries of human warfare, they appeared from nowhere, struck hard, and vanished before the aliens could respond. "They're retreating from Santiago," Maria reported with fierce pride. "These aliens have no concept of urban warfare. They're sitting ducks in our cities." In her command center, Sarah watched as the Federation's mighty armada began to crumble. Their superior technology, rather than being an advantage, had become a vulnerability. They had no backup systems, no contingencies for fighting without their advanced networks. They had forgotten the fundamental lessons that humanity had learned through countless wars. Adaptability was more important than superiority. "Launch Phase 2, she ordered, knowing that the real battle was just beginning. The Federation still had overwhelming firepower, and once they recovered from their initial shock, they would adapt. But humanity was counting on that. The second phase of their trap was designed specifically for a desperate enemy willing to use maximum force. As the sun rose fully over the Pacific, the battle for Earth's freedom was fully joined. The Federation was learning, painfully and thoroughly, why you should never corner a species that had turned warfare into an art form. The question wasn't whether humanity would win. It was how much of their supposedly superior civilization the Federation would lose in the process. High Commander Vex Thor's energy form pulsed erratically as he watched his mighty fleet dissolve into chaos. 7 hours into what should have been a routine subjugation, the Federation forces were in complete disarray. His flagship's bridge, once a model of efficient alien technology, now flickered with warning lights and conflicting data streams. "Status report," he demanded, his mechanical shell vibrating with barely contained fury. "Commander, we've lost contact with 30% of the fleet," his second-in-command reported, mandibles clicking nervously. "The humans, they're not fighting like any species we've encountered. Our tactical computers can't predict their movements." On Earth, Admiral Chen coordinated the next phase of humanity's counterattack. Dr. Patel's quantum disruption fields had exceeded all expectations, turning the Federation's own technology against them. But Sarah knew better than to celebrate too early. "They're regrouping," she observed, studying the tactical displays. "Vex Thor is adapting faster than we anticipated. Launch Phase 3. Across Earth's orbit, hidden satellites activated, releasing clouds of seemingly harmless debris. The Federation ships, their sensors already compromised by human cyber warfare, didn't register the threat until it was too late. The debris, actually advanced metamaterials programmed to interact with Federation shield frequencies, began to merge with their defensive fields. Quantum resonance achieving critical mass, Dr. Patel reported from her underground lab. Their shields are about to experience something interesting. In space, Federation ships watched in horror as their supposedly impenetrable energy shields began to crystallize, turning solid before shattering like glass. The debris cloud, now charged with quantum energy, cut through their hulls like molecular knives. Commander Torres, coordinating the orbital defense, allowed himself a grim smile. Metamaterial swarms performing beyond expectations. "Admiral, Federation ships are dropping like flies." But the Federation wasn't finished. Vex Thor, realizing his fleet was facing annihilation, made the decision that humanity had been waiting for. "Deploy the planet crackers," he ordered, his voice cold with rage. "If we cannot have this world, no one will." Massive weapons platforms emerged from the Federation's remaining capital ships, designed to tear planets apart at a molecular level. It was their ultimate weapon, one that had ended countless rebellions before they began. "Planet crackers detected," Lieutenant Rivera announced, his voice steady despite the threat. "They're powering up exactly as predicted." Admiral Chen nodded. This was the moment they had prepared for, the reason they had allowed the Federation fleet to maintain partial communications. Dr. Wong, execute final protocol. In his Singapore command center, Marcus Wong initiated the last phase of humanity's defensive plan. The Federation's planet crackers, like all their technology, relied on quantum-based systems that humans had spent months studying and preparing to exploit. Quantum entanglement loop established, Marcus reported, redirecting their energy signatures. Now, the planet crackers powered up, their massive energy cores glowing with destructive potential. But instead of targeting Earth, the weapons turned on their own ships. The quantum entanglement loop created by human scientists caused the weapons to identify Federation vessels as their targets. Vexthor watched in horror as his own superweapons began tearing his fleet apart. "Shut them down," he screamed. "Override. Override." But it was too late. The Federation's automated systems, designed to be foolproof, couldn't be stopped once activated. Ship after ship dissolved under molecular disassembly beams, their crews having seconds to realize their own weapons had become their executioners. In her command center, Sarah watched the destruction with a mixture of satisfaction and regret. The loss of life was regrettable, but the Federation had left them no choice. They had come to Earth expecting to find primitives. Instead, they found a species that had turned their own technological arrogance into a weapon. "Admiral," Lieutenant Rivera called out, "we're receiving surrender signals from the remaining Federation ships. Commander Vexthor is requesting immediate cessation of hostilities." Sarah straightened her uniform, preparing for the conversation she had known would come. "Put him through," she ordered. "Let's teach the Federation what happens when you underestimate humanity." The holographic display flickered to life, showing a very different Vexthor than the one who had demanded Earth's submission days ago. His energy form was dim, his mechanical shell scared and damaged. "Enough," he said, his once proud voice now trembling. We surrender. The Federation acknowledges humanity's right to independence." Admiral Chen allowed herself a small smile. "No, Commander. You're going to acknowledge much more than that. Humanity isn't just claiming independence. We're claiming our place among the stars. And this time, you're going to listen."